Hello, I'm Joel Blackford with Beth Hesed Sabbath Fellowship. Thank you for joining us. We're virtual only, based out of St. Paul, Minnesota. The phone number works if you'd like to contact us. We do the thought behind the thought, the philosophy. Sometimes it's the physics of eschatology. That's what it's going to be today. What you need to know, your reality, our existence. What's coming up? Well, we're solving a little bit of Revelation from chapter 6, verses 12 through 17, which is the sixth seal. And then the fourth trumpet and the fourth bowl from Revelation 8 and from Revelation 16. We'll try to solve those things, but we'll lead out with the sixth seal signs because there's more evidence and it's huge. So we're recapping the solar storms from the last week, leading up to this should be November 15th, 16th. I'm sorry, I'm blacking out on the day, blanking. But anyway, the main thing is our magnetosphere took a big solar storm, an X 5.16, and 8 minutes later we saw the flares, the flashes, okay? But then about 18 to 72 hours later, we saw the plasma hitting the Earth, and it caused the auroras. So let's go ahead and go through the philosophy of the end of days, what leads up to a micronova, which I believe is what's occurring in the sixth seal, and the dust accumulation events that seem to happen throughout Revelation. We try not to twist the Bible. We try to give you physics. We try to quote prophecy accurately and then give you the news. And it's a lot of news. Okay, so this is from Ben Davidson, and it's from his X account, and so this occurred just today, and so it's related to his video. So record solar induction, pole shift speeding up, SO News, November 16th, 2025. On Tuesday, experts documented a value of 3.45 volts per kilometer in the Shetland Islands off the coast of Scotland, an unusually large number that has not been recorded before, according to the Geological Survey's team. Large geoelectric fields can interfere with transformers and may even cause them to shut down or overheat. Okay, so once again, it's an X 5.16 solar flare, plus there were some other little flares that might bunch in with that. So Ben's comment was CNN, a seemingly mundane article buried near the end. The most terrifying thing I will read today. Observers know the descent continues. So it's a combination of flares and CMEs and things like that being launched off the sun, but then it's also the fact that we have a magnetosphere that's thinning. So on the right-hand side, Ben talks more about it. Saw someone post this CNN article yesterday making a big claim that I knew just where to look. British Geological Survey. Oh dear, it's real. Local conditions hit KP9 at high latitude this last week with the strongest geoelectric current ever recorded in Shetland. While the data only goes back to 2012, that means the solar storm this past week induced stronger currents than the 2012, 2015, 2017, and even the last year's May 2024 solar superstorm. That's never going to happen in a million years unless our magnetic field is tanking hard and fast, and it is since April of 2023. I'll prove that again. Then again, this is what you've been expecting, right? Without those forecasted accelerations, we wouldn't be getting the pole shift till the 2070s, but we've got them. And they're getting worse. So that's Ben Davidson from his particular video. So we all go back to this date. This is when we started to study the physics of what's occurring now. 1859, specifically September 1 and 2 of 1859, Mr. Carrington from England was studying the sun and saw a huge event. An X40, X80, something like that flare. So keep in mind, what we just observed was an X 5.16, and we had low level latitude auroras that they were not as great as the Carrington event, but the Carrington event had 100% magnetosphere that we know of, and now it's probably down by 30%. So this is from Space Weather Climate, okay, SWSC, and on the right-hand side is Live Science saying the next Carrington level superstorm, solar superstorm, could wipe out all satellites. New simulations reveal. So this is from October 30th of 2025, fairly fresh in the scientific realm. So wreak havoc on Earth orbiting satellites or on our grids and things like that. So everything's documented here. Makes sense. So what we're looking unfortunately, forward to is 2032 through 2040, some kind of a kill shot that occurs from the sun that would knock us out. But before that, there's the sixth seal. Then the sixth bowl is much later. There will be, oh, I'm sorry, that's supposed to be the fourth bowl. That's a typo. All right, but it is the fourth bowl. Well, actually, the fifth bowl is horrific too. So the main thing is our magnetosphere is thinning in an extreme way. It's horrific. And we saw it move dramatically downward after April of 2023. So Ben is saying, when's the kill shot? He said 90% certain in the 2040s, 10% chance in the 2030s. But that's increasing, guys. Okay. But now, yeah, down below, 70% in the 2040s, now 30% chance in the 2030s. So not good signs. And so, okay, so X 5.16 flare again and CME, or and I went out Tuesday night and Wednesday night. I went out for 5 hours each night and had a blast. You know me, I'm talking physics, and I'm actually talking about God and the Bible, because physics are in the Bible as far as I'm concerned. So there was the major solar flare and CME. There was the sunspot group 4274. It erupted again, producing its strongest flare yet, that X 5.16. And then on the right-hand side, I don't think this is actually U.S. Homeland Security, but it's important to be aware of what they're stating. It's very accurate, okay? The sun has woken up. Soon, perhaps very soon, the Earth will get hit with a massive CME that will knock out satellite and cellular communications across the globe and cause blackouts. It could knock out the power grid, perhaps globally. No power for years, decades, maybe forever. That will occur, but we'll get the warning shot before that because God's in control. So the NOAA, which is actually from the government, the new G3 watch do another potential CME arrival. The most recent CME occurred early AM of November 10th and then the 11th. And so we got these storms then eventually on Tuesday night and Wednesday night. And so it was fun to watch. Once again, I enjoyed watching. So the reds are the serious ones, okay? And the greens, we don't have many zeros anymore. We get some ones at times, but then most of them are yellows and reds over the last few weeks here. So you can see exactly this time frame from GFZ, Helmholtz Center. And this is about a 10-day cycle. And so, I'm finally using that. And that is KP index. So KP would just tell you the amount of plasma coming in. And then I use the other, the BZ. The BZ tells you if it deflects away from the planet or towards the planet and kind of where it goes in the planet. So once again, huge storms, solar storms in the red, cause huge low-latitude auroras, which correspond to blackouts, aches, headaches, heart attacks, strokes, mental confusion. Within a week or two, this process builds, and that plasma energy will drive deep into our atmosphere and through the poles, of course, but then into our crust from the poles, and then cause larger earthquakes, volcanoes, and electric storms like tornadoes, hurricanes. It gets nasty. You need to get ready for those things. It's pretty, but eventually it causes horrific weather. So we've had an increase in major storms more recently. So just on the left-hand side, this is from Sarah Husil. She's talking about, the types of storms and which are the strongest. So top 5 geomagnetic storms of solar cycle 25, because we're kind of ending it right now. So it started 2018, 2019, okay? So May 10th and 11th of 2024 is number 1, okay? And that was a big one. But really, where I'm pointing out on the bottom, number 5, is April 24th of 2023. That started this downward trend, and off to the lower right-hand side, you can see that downward trend there, okay? So basically, we're starting to notice that the storms are bigger. They're KP9s and KP8s. Those are huge storms compared to what we've ever seen in the past. And they're frequent, people. Look at this. This is 2024, 2024, 2025, 2025, and then 2023. These are 5 top storms. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, on the right-hand side, DST of whatever. Okay, November 12th. Okay, geomagnetic storm is the 3rd strongest storm of solar cycle 25. Strongest storm of 2025. Yeah. Let's see. 3rd strongest storm since 2006. Although March 17th, 2025 reached a close shave of that, okay? In terms of auroral visibility, this is probably a once-in-a-5-year event. No, it's going to happen more frequently going forward. This is Victor Ledvina, wonderful PhD from Alaska, great guy. He's kind of a global warming type of guy. He buys in to the liberal science side, but he's a great guy, okay? There's no one better at finding and chasing the auroras. Okay. I think rivaling October 2024 storm, but exceeding the May 2024 storm. We've had to investigate the extent of where the aurora was visible after the storm has totally finished. So he's plotting the DST. I'm sorry, I can't remember what DST is right now, but basically, this is why sometimes the storms come and go. They ebb and flow. Just get used to it. Okay. This is interesting because it tracks back more like 20 years, okay? So we have these solar cycles every 11 years, okay? And the peaks seem to be 2024 for us, and then now we're on the backside. That solar maximum was 2024, okay? Lerwick observatory data, historical records from Lerwick and other similar observatories, show repeated episodes of geoelectric fields in this range. For instance, 2003 Halloween storms, peaks at 20, high, okay, power, okay. 2015 fields reached across Scandinavia a high level, okay. So we remember these storms, but we're having many more storms since then recently. So when you look at the last 20 to 30 years, the biggest storms seem to be right now. Magnetosphere related. Okay, there's the anomaly too. Okay, that's the South Atlantic anomaly, and it's morphing and changing. That's probably where the South Pole's going to be at some point in time. And the North Pole is going to be in the Bay of Bengal near India. So, concerning the power outage in Europe, and we'll be covering that in the next couple of slides, Earth's pole shift hits another level. That's Ben. This was not the sun. It was not Russia. It was not China. It was not hacking. And it was not the extreme heat. It was a weak spot in Earth's magnetic field, allowing a solar wind plasma penetration. So that's from April 28th of 2025. So you can see how the Atlantic low is there, the SAA, and we've got highs. And what I'm arguing is that even though I'm not a flat earther, obviously, there is a point to be made off this, that you see the 4 points of the earth. It's like the 4 quarters. It is somewhat biblical. So, but of course, I'm a round earth guy because I study physics. So, Scott Lewis, don't know why Spain's lights went out, so we'll cover that in the next couple of slides. Basically, there was just a weak spot. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll cover this in the meantime. So more recently here, why 3.5 V over km is a bad sign. Point, why it matters. Never seen before. Official max was 2 VKM in G5 storms. 75% over danger limit. Transformers start failing at 2 V over km. From a G4 storm shouldn't happen without an X20 plus, like an X20 type of a storm. So we have nearly failures off just a smaller storm. Field weaker, same solar hit and stronger ground voltage. And so the grid is now fragile enough that a moderate storm can push through to the edge. Okay, so let's cover the grid warnings, and then I'll get into the locations that shorted out over the last couple of years. So power grid warning issued for 11 states, November 11th, 2025, Newsweek reporting. Holly, warnings have been issued for these particular states, northern states. You can see Oregon, Idaho, Montana, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Interesting. Okay, power grid stability underpins everyday life. Obviously, AI-powered data centers are pushing us to the brink. And so that was Holly. Down below then, this is from USA Canuck, whoever that is, 3.5 volts per kilometer is enough induction to throw off step-down transformers. Voltage increase can result in overheating and significant volt amp fluctuations. This can lead to failure and damage for the grid. We had blackouts before. This was April 17th of 2025. Puerto Rico blacked out. Why? Their system was taxed, overloaded, and then any little surge came through, boom, they're done. Okay, that's Reuters. On the right-hand side, WBC News, Spain and Portugal hit by massive power outage. Okay, according to Ben, and I'm going to agree with Ben, this was a weak spot in the Earth's magnetic field, allowing a solar wind plasma penetration. It just shot straight down on the global electric circuit. And so that was his news from April 28th of 2025. So you'll start to see more blackouts as these storms increase and the magnetosphere thins, the various things going on. So once again, space weather man, Ben Davidson, not even close, but the weakening magnetic field causing random geoelectric surging or allowing too many cosmic rays to penetrate. Yes. So what was the question? Paging Dr. Ben, is it possible that the minor solar C-class flares caused the massive power outage in Portugal, Spain, and France? No. These were direct surges into those locations, into already weakened people, because let's face it, Spain, Portugal, those areas, they've just never gotten into the modern age, okay? And so they have lousy electrical systems, and so they're going to have more blackouts, and that's Puerto Rico too, really pathetic. So it was a plasma penetration event. On the right-hand side, there is more to sun than just solar flares. Puerto Rico power outage last week matched exactly the minute when the solar cause drop in Earth's magnetic field. Okay, so you can see things dropping out, but there are occasionally these times when it just goes straight at. It's like a finger of death pointing at a country or a location. Okay, so we're going to have something huge at some point in time, and that would be the micronova. And so you're saying, well, Joel, I've never heard of a micronova. Well, the Atlantic has, and physics.org have, okay? So on the left-hand side, this is the Atlantic from 2022, the cutest thermonuclear explosion in the universe, the micronova. They're introducing you to the micronova. Well, on the right-hand side, physics is saying, absolutely, astronomers discover micronovae, and that would be plural, a new kind of stellar implosion. And so the teams are assembling and proving that micronovas occur, singular, micronovae, plural. And so what we're saying in the Bible is that you're going to have dust coming through, hitting the sixth seal, and causing this accumulation because it's electrostatic. And then it will blast out. Then it will accumulate again. Then it will eventually do the kill shot much later on. And I'll try to prove that prophetically too. So it's like Swiffer dusters, okay? They use static electricity to attract the dust. The duster's polyester fibers create a static charge when rubbed together, which causes dust particles to align so that their positive and negative charges are near each other. The dust is then electrostatically stuck to the pad. That's what happens with the sun and the planets. And that's what I'm going to show you as we move forward here. But first, we're going to take some questions that prove from Ben Davidson how the process works of the dust accumulating. So, question, does the chaff make the sun look white? No, according to Ben. The changing magnetic field of Earth is a changing lens through which we view the sun. Until the actual central magnetic reversal point comes, the dust has no way to accumulate and cause the sixth seal or the fourth trumpet or the fourth bowl. The solar wind and the photoionization of the ultraviolet brightness are still blazing it away once it gets to the upper corona. But the fact that we are seeing it increasing at that level, not yet able to accumulate, tells us that it has to happen is the short circuiting of that has to happen is the short circuiting of the photospheric and the chromospheric electrical potential during the actual galactic magnetic reversal. And all that's going to stick, and the luminosity is going to die at the exact same time. The white color is due to a normal luminosity being seen through an altered lens. So basically what he's saying is we aren't ready yet for the sixth seal. We aren't ready yet for the fourth trumpet or the fourth bowl. But we'll know based on how our, when we get closer to the galactic magnetic reversal. So you'll notice it by the pole shifting more. As the poles wobble more, you'll see these things occur. Okay, So that's technical. I'm sorry. That was PhD level, okay? And I'm not there, okay? Oh, but Ben is. Will the galactic dust cloud remain relatively steady, or can we expect, I can't read it, something might push things, hopefully the sun, might push things faster? Fair question. I would say that if there were, I don't know if the surge is the right word. I hope you're okay with me changing that phrasing. If there are over density regions, I would think that we would be able to see that. But the caveat to that is I would like to think that we would be able to see the dust as it is now. The caveat to this is the modern astronomy hasn't existed for long enough to tell us what it looked like before the current sheet arrived, which most of us know, most of you know, I believe was in the 1850s. So Alaska Care, the person that asked the question, that's a great question, okay? The dust questions are great. And what I'm showing you off to the left-hand side is what a micronova looks like, okay, potentially. The different views of what it might look like. So that's new information from Ben as of just a couple of days ago. Space weather news. This is an older slide where I'm talking about the fact that Ben's been saying for years that the sun will change from yellow to white to red to black. Then the micronova occurs. So according to the Bible, the Earth Kings will know when the micronova is going to occur. Then I watched as he broke the sixth seal, and there was a great earthquake. That's part of this process, and I'll show you that in an upcoming slide. Micronova unlocks the crust, the mantle breaks free, the sun turned black as sackcloth, Sakos trichonos in the text. I'm saying that is not an eclipse. That is the final stage of a small micronova in the sixth seal case, called Sakos trichonos in the Greek. That's layered like goat's shiny mohair, angora, worn in mourning. So it's combination of goat hair, which is fluffy. But it's that kind of a goat. It's a trichonos goat, which would be a mohair, which would be angora. Okay, and it's shiny and pretty and fluffy. And then the sun would literally wear it like a mourning garment, like the sun would be embarrassed by how evil the earth is. Think about it that way, okay? And then the full moon, it has to be the full moon, it's holo in the Greek, became blood red. The next one is March 3rd of 2020, 2nd and 3rd of 2025. The stars fell from heaven to earth. That's a micronova dust accumulation event, just as when a fig trees tend to drop at a certain time. Which one would that be? Well, it looks like it's the winter time when figs are shaken by a strong wind. The sky receded like a scroll being rolled up. That's Revelation 6:12 through 14a. So the scroll being rolled up is when our magnetosphere thins, and it's already thinned about 30%. What's occurred already is we've had two of this current cycle of blood moon eclipses. The next one is 3233 coming up. And if the sun starts to change and the dust starts to accumulate, we could be going in. Otherwise, you've got a long wait. If that is the sign, the full moon, blood moon, then you'd go until 2028. That's a long, long time. Whew, okay, so what's the process here? Hoofda, part of the electrical chain Earth processes. So when we get these storms in here, they drive in through the poles, and you can pause this. I mean, there's so much to view here, but basically they're chain events that set things off. The energy comes in through the poles. It drives things. So I'm going to let you pause it if you want to and see how it affects different things like planes. It'll knock planes out of the sky. It'll knock satellites out. It'll knock radio broadcasts out. It'll knock ships and navigation. And if you're out in space floating around in your human suit there, you're going to die. Okay? So basically, these things occur. Pause it if you want to, but basically they're part of processes. What are those processes? Things gestate. So first the sun, it has like kids in the school dance, mixing together, and eventually they dance, but they don't like to mix at first. Then it creates a flare or a filament or a coronal hole, or in most cases a CME flare. So then we see it from 18 to 72 hours later as auroras. Then we see these storms start to pick up, different electrical type storms, or they're storms underneath the earth that cause earthquakes, or volcanoes. Yes, Ryan Speakman, I hear you. Volcanoes too. And then you'll get more of these anomalies, like the South Atlantic anomaly, where you will have holes open up in the magnetosphere, like I just read to you from the Bible. And then the poles shift eventually. It's all just dating. Yeah. And then also you'll see the meteor showers. This one was from 1833 when they first started going crazy on raptures. Okay, and so the Millerites talked about it, the Mormons talked about it, and the JWs, because they were generally up in the same region of western New York, and they saw it. They saw it. The Leonid meteor shower from 11, 12, and 13 of 1833. I wanted you to see the dates, just so you could see, the time range. I can't do the math in my head fast enough to 2025, but that's a long time frame, but very similar time in November. Interesting. Okay. What I'm telling you is we'll have debris coming, like a meteor shower or something like that, but then it will increase through the trumpets. So this is a professor. Mail Online is publishing it. I'm a professor of asteroid. He's an asteroid hunter, and this is what NASA is not telling you about the space rocks on a collision course for Earth. So William Hunter is talking about this, and these asteroids are popping through more often, and so on the right-hand side. And this is from December 2024. However, if humanity is going to survive into the future, we need to know more than just how or when the Earth is about to be hit by an asteroid. We need a way of stopping it. The experiment's showing that we can deflect an asteroid if we know well in advance that such an impact will happen, Dr. Marcus says. And down below, we're seeing more. We've got Apophis coming, okay? And things could slam a fast-moving satellite and just knock the satellites out. But also, the photons and protons not really, but protons could knock the satellites out too, obviously. Elon lost a bunch back in 2022. So it's just interesting. That's Mail Online. Okay, continuing on. This is the prophecy side. This is Rebecca Sterling from his videos. I mean, she saw these things that we're experiencing and will experience back in 1999. She documented them. She's stating, based on what she saw that's been highly accurate so far, there were two of these EMP storms. The first one was temporary, and the second one was permanent. Okay, so temporary, permanent. So we'll probably go in for 3-4 months. And this is, I look for her videos under David Strode, A Voice Crying in the Wilderness, which is, this is video number 7, Living in the Basement. And quoting from Rebecca, I learned afterward, because I had heard them talking about it, about what an EMP was, and it meant that all the power was knocked out, and I'm under the impression that there's going to be an EMP, that it takes out all power, always, forever, and I don't know how this worked. I'm just reporting what I saw is that probably at the time when, at the end, when all this, and the stadium scene, okay, when all the horrible things happen, that's where the Pope will be meeting with all the aliens, or we'll call them EDs, extra dimensionals. Then all these horrible things happen, and that is when the bride is caught away. I don't agree with that, but that's when the 2 witnesses showed up and began preaching at the temple. I don't really agree with that, but maybe because this would be the beginning, that would make more sense, I guess. Began preaching at the temple. I'm under the impression that that's when the EMP happened, because there were 2. The first one was temporary. How does that work? She doesn't know. Okay, but people say the sunspots or some Carrington event. And whatever it is, seems. But once the EMP happens, it's over. This was temporary, and then later on, there's one where they never come back. So in the video up to 1108, you'll see her talking about 2 events. She's not a scientist. I'm barely a scientist, but I do work hard at it. Okay, so biblically speaking, the 6th seal has lots of things going on. The earthquake, the black sun, the blood red moon, the stars falling from the sky, which I would argue is just dust. Okay, but the main thing is that's the first dust event. And Ben was kind of telling you what it will look like. Then Revelation 8:12 is the 4th angel sounding the shofar. The third of the sun was struck. It doesn't say the earth was struck. It says the sun was struck. And the third of the moon and the third of the stars struck by dust. And darkened by dust. The day and night less by about a third, and the night likewise. Okay. 4th one, poured out his dust bowl. I'm adding that. You can see where I said that. On the sun, and it was permitted to burn people with fire. That's a major kill shot. That's the one we don't recover from. People were burned by the intense heat, yet they cursed the name of God, who had the authority over these plagues, instead of turning from their sins to give him glory. Revelation 6. No, that's Revelation 16, 8 through 9. But anyway, I need to fix some of my slides, don't I? The solar micronova is going to happen. Suspicious observers, for decades, they're saying that it was a remnant of a past supernova. No, they're figuring out that these novas are real, and they occur regularly across the galaxies. But at some point in time, we're going to see this dust cloud move in, and then there will be a solar micronova, and then there will be the kill shot at the end. It'll happen in phases. So this is the 60th confirming report from NASA and ARVIX, which is a heliospheric current sheet, which is the magnetic current dust sheet that is coming through, and it will collect. It'll stick to our sun and the planets and things like that, like the Bible states, and then it will blast out micronovas from the sun. So you can pull this article up if you want to. The main thing is, and you can pause it too, the main thing is it's out there, it's coming through, it's going to affix to our sun at some point in time. Okay, this is from Ben Davidson. It's his play on words, where he did a video where he said there will be scales around the sun as it goes into micronova. So he's saying the third horse is black, carrying the scales of justice. And when the sun turns black, just the outer ring and the unfortunately my timer is there, so I can't read it. I think it's the tropospheric fields on either side will be only glowing visibly. They will look like scales from ancient times, tipping and tilting on either side of the black sun. Really intriguing thought. Okay, I'm saying no, per the picture, physics, and Revelation 6, 12 through 17, dust will accumulate on our sun, appearing as Sarcos-Trichonos, wearing a fluffy mohair sackcloth garment, in a state of mourning, causing increased earthquakes of volcanoes worldwide from solar plasma storms. When the sun releases a micronova, a wave of plasma will hit our Earth, forcing everyone to run underground. All grids will fail for a few months. Waves of plasma will drive in through our poles, releasing more violent, ongoing electrical storms and crust instabilities. Our magnetosphere will appear to be open like a scroll. The pole wobble will increase exponentially going forward. That is technically new information. That's only 4 months old, 5 months old. So now the counter narratives as we move forward. Oh, this is a long video. I'm sorry. Counter narratives, misinformation, disinformation, all that stuff. All the evidence is that there is about to take 1, space weather, 2, the risk of solar storms, and then 3, the pole shift and Earth's disaster cycle completely mainstream. So we know it has to occur. The scientists are jumping on board and realizing this is going to occur. We're going to be dealing with counter narratives, misinformation, and disinformation, and I'll give you examples. Okay, so he's giving you the information first. We have disaster cycles. They've occurred 6,000 years ago, 12,000 years ago, 18,000 years ago. We can name the cycles and everything and prove them through core samples. There will be magnetic pole shifting, field weakening, both accelerating, ozone, UV, cosmic rays, navigation, tech loss, timing 1859 to 2000. So Carrington to now. Triggers. Different triggers and things like that. Pause if you want to, but basically there will be safe zones. And Ben is up at the eastern side of the Colorado Rockies. I'm in Minnesota. I think I'll survive, but we'll see. So the Earth will turn over. You want to find a safe zone, okay? And Ben is talking, and he's giving you confidence levels on each one. Basically, he's saying it's a 90-degree shift. I'll show you that in a little bit. So expect electromagnetic disturbances, solar radiation, solar flares, solar rays. Once again, pause the slide if you want to see more. But basically, you almost need insurance because the insurance industry is figuring this out. Pays out upon any of the following: catastrophic solar kill shot, solar micronova, collapse of civilization, geographic pole shift, continent-sized tsunamis. Yeah, all policies guaranteed by the government. So there you go. You need to be grounded in the meantime. You need to get outside and get your feet in the dirt every now and then just to reground. And so the main thing is the electricity really wants to just pass by you. So if you're grounded, but also grounding during regular intervals during the week, get your shoes off, get get other items off that are polyester and plastic and things like that, and just ground your little toesies into the dirt, because it will help you, because the energy has been spiking lately and you need to ground yourself back again, especially as things go forward. So this is on the right hand side, more disinformation. So I'm showing you information, disinformation on the right. CME is a coronal mass ejection from the sun. This was triggered after 3i Atlas took its course around the sun. No, this guy's a lunatic. If you compare the mass and the plasma power of the sun to 3i Atlas, you'll realize it's a micronat. It's so tiny, it's silly. Okay, the sun's so powerful. So watch out for silly, stupid ideas. And watch out for the science on this, which is you'll have heart and vascular issues, okay? Potential influence of geomagnetic activity on blood pressure, statistical fluctuations at mid-magnetic latitudes. Yes, so this is from Communications Medicine. Solar activity and consequent geomagnetic activity and an influence on biological rhythms, cardiovascular system functions, response to blood pressure. It's going to make you feel horrible and have heart attacks and strokes and other things like that. Pause it if you want to. You can cover more, but basically it's not healthy. Okay, and this is from April 28th of 2025, again from Communications Medicine. Death toll. Also, planes are going to fall out of the sky. Now, can I say the November 5th plane fell out of the sky because of the X 1.8 solar flare? I don't know. But it is interesting that the New York Post reported on it. Okay, that was the UPS plane crash in Louisville, Kentucky. So the magnetic field is weakening, especially over USA, Canada, and the South Atlantic anomaly. The North Magnetic Pole is moving towards Siberia. We're going on a geomagnetic excursion. I recommend that you fly less, especially don't fly when the storms are coming in. Whoa. Okay, misinformation, disinformation. Tucker is total disinformation. Dane Wigington is disinformation, okay? The physics don't match. And so this is from Justin Hart. Thousands of modified jets, STCs, manuals, inspections, proper paper trails would prove that you'd have to have tons of jets to pull off geoengineering and chemtrails. Okay, tens of thousands of pilots, mechanics, ramp crews, dispatchers, no insider leaks. Hazmat rules, SDS permits, tanks, spill plans, audits, visible at airports, massive chemical supply chain, contracts, invoices, shipping, storage. Okay, you'd have to hide a lot of information. Extra weight, fuel, shows load sheets, ACARs. If you're a pilot, and this guy was, you would know all these things. The FAA compliance would leave records. Air water monitoring would detect toxins. None do. International ramp checks, satellites, universities would flag it. Okay, Dane Wigington is disinformation, misinformation. He's lying. Okay, what's the truth again? So we're going through truth and false. In this case, the truth is the magnetic pole is heading towards Russia, and they will be dragged across it, and they will freeze to death and die. That's why they want war. Okay, Mother Bear Russia is going to be angry when the Russians begin freezing as their people are being dragged across the magnetic North Pole. They'll cause wars. Okay, so this is geoscientist on the move. Earth's magnetic pole has recently moved at unprecedented rates. And so, yeah, guess what? Russia's going to be angry because they're going to be the first ones hit by this horrible freeze. Okay, Russia dragged across the North Pole during the pole flip. Me, you can see where I am right now. Well, you can't see where I am right now, but you can see where I'll be afterward, and I'll be on the 45th parallel south, as opposed to I'm at the 45th parallel north right now, literally on top of it. The weight of the polar ice cap will flip us 90 degrees. Okay, get ready for it. Actually, move to Iceland. They'll be comfy in a while here. So here's what's coming up. At some point, according to Ben Davidson, Earth's weakening magnetic field will weaken so much that the planet will not be able to sustain even a moderate disruption in the solar wind. When that occurs, the grids will go down, and there will be no more power as the sun continually ramps up toward the micronova and Earth's magnetic field continues to weaken. Cosmic radiation will bombard the planet more and more. At some point, the solar system will enter the point where the galactic magnetic reversal occurs. The sun will go dark for 3 days, followed by a solar micronova, and the planet will go like this, and he does the twist, which I just showed you. Okay, I'm arguing that it will occur once as a warning to us from God on the sixth seal, and then we'll go into more in the fourth trumpet, and then this will be the kill shot, the fourth bowl. Okay, localized severe weather now. Economic, political, cultural turmoil, 2024 to 2030. Solar kill shot, he's saying 2030s, 2040s. Pole shift, Micronova, 2040s, potentially. This is a long time ago. I'm citing the prophets of Wilkerson, Dudeman for these things. Sterling, as I mentioned today. Biltz, Davidson, Armstrong, Nenner are pundits, but they're highly accurate, okay? So these things are coming. So where are we at? I feel like the movie sold us an idealized version of the end times. Well, 2012 was accurate. The first 25 minutes are very accurate. Just watch the first 25 minutes. Okay? Be blessed. Thank you. We are in the birth pangs. We're not in the tribulation. We're not in the great tribulation. The sixth seal, we told you more information about when it's going to show up. You're getting married. You can't show up naked for your wedding. Okay? You have to have clean clothes. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot. What garments? It's a wedding. Get ready for it. Be blessed. Love you. We'll see you in a week, hopefully. God bless.